covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are. This is WXII 12 News at 6.
Breaking news right now at 6, where a huge warehouse was on fire in downtown Winston-Salem overnight. This is an old RJR building, and flames were shooting through the roof, and part of that building collapsed.
You're looking live at the scene now from two different angles. Firefighters have been on the scene since around 2 o'clock this morning, and we have a live report from the scene coming up in just a few minutes. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I'm Nicole Duker.
And I'm Kimberly Vanscoy. We're here in the Weather Center for a first look at the forecast with Austin.
Yeah, cold stuff, and obviously not an easy morning for the firefighters to fight that stuff.
Right.
And Brian's going to have more details on that coming up. I've got more details as we look at numbers here, gang, of how you need to bundle up, and also how more wind is going to be in the forecast today. You got 15 showing up in Burlington. You've got 17 showing up in High Point, Lexington, and Asheboro. You've got 21 showing up this morning in Greensboro, 23 in Winston-Salem. So a little bit of breeze showing up, and that makes it feel even worse. You notice the feels like numbers right now. It feels like it's 12 in Greensboro. It feels like it's 5 in Galax. So the feels like temperatures today are really the most critical part of our weather forecast, because we have more wind that's going to start building in. And even though our actual air temperature today does get above freezing for a high this afternoon, it's still going to feel no better than lower 20s. I'm going to show you that more in a second. We got 14 in Hillsville, 12 in Ennis, upper teens showing up in Elkin-Jolsville and Yadkinville, widespread teens throughout the area. I've actually got the notion of getting down to the single digits in the forecast for this time tomorrow. So yeah, when you factor in the wind, even right now, it feels like it's 5 below in the Boone area. The leading edge of that increasing wind already starting to build in from the west, and as it does that, it will translate into the Piedmont and the Triad. So we'll see those winds beginning to increase here as we go through this morning. So you'll need those layers if you have to be outside for more than a few minutes, and even if you think you need to when it comes to work, you think you need to, certainly I think you need to increase the break time, as if you didn't know that already. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Those of you that do work outside, you've gotten pretty good at this like you did yesterday. You'll need to plan for more wind today, because yesterday the wind actually relaxed during the day. Today it'll be the opposite. It's going to increase. There are some scattered clouds too. The sun will be filtering through those clouds, and as we go through the day, we're looking at high temperatures about 33, but the wind chills upper teens and lower 20s.
And remember, you can get the latest school closings and delays on our website, WXII12.com. The info is also scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And just a reminder that today will be a makeup day for Guilford County students. It was supposed to be a teacher work day.
And now to that breaking news in downtown Winston-Salem, where firefighters are putting out hot spots in an old RJR building that caught on fire this morning.
Yeah, you can see the flames in this video behind us. Brian Slocum is live on the scene with the latest. Brian?
Yeah, Kim and Nicole, at one point this is a massive fire. The call first came in just after 1:30 this morning. A fire apparently broke out in a catwalk that separated a couple of old RJR buildings. The catwalk since collapsed while they were fighting that fire, and it burned for almost a good 3 hours before that fire was finally extinguished. Now, as you just mentioned, the crews are still putting out hot spots. At one time we had 18 trucks here on scene at 500 East 5th Street in Winston-Salem. Again, the fire is out at this point, and the investigation of what actually caused this fire is well underway. No injuries were reported. Both buildings were vacant at the time, but the fire did reportedly burn into both adjacent buildings when it was blazing in the early morning hours. Again, the investigation is still underway. These buildings were actually slated for part of a major downtown renovation project. We spoke to Mayor Joines a short time ago. He was actually in Washington, D.C. and happened to have dinner last night with the potential developer. He told us that this is part of a 5-building, $52 million renovation project that is expected to add additional residential and a lot of retail space to the downtown area. Fortunately, we're hearing now that the fire did not cause any major or extensive damage to that project, but is something that we'll continue to watch. You referenced a few moments ago to the very chilly temperatures in the area this morning. We did hear in our scanners when they were fighting this fire that ice was mentioned, that it was becoming a little bit of a problem for firefighters that were trying to fight this fire. We were told by Assistant Fire Chief Harry Brown a short time ago that no ice is reportedly on the roadways surrounding this area, and it wasn't a major issue when the firefighters were actually battling this fire a few hours ago. Reporting live in Winston-Salem, I'm Brian Slocum, WXII 12 News.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. And let's bring in photojournalist William Bottomley, who is also at the scene. And Willie, tell us about road closures around that fire.
Well, Kim, if you're heading in toward the downtown area this morning on your morning commute heading into work or wherever you might be, 4th, 5th, Linden, Maple, and Vine Streets are closed at this time, and that's centered right around the Wake Forest Biotech Place. Now, Patterson Avenue is open, so you can get down Patterson if you need to access this area. But yes, there's a lot of road closures, fire trucks still on the scene, still investigating this fire from this morning. And one other thing Brian mentioned is about the ice, is that when they do clear the streets, make sure you use a little extra caution, because there's plenty of ice on the road that will could cause a lot of problems out there. Kim, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, William. And this is not the first fire at an RJR building in downtown Winston-Salem. In 1998, factory number 256 was destroyed by a fire. The inside of the building was gutted.
This morning, a Davidson County deputy and his canine partner are recovering after they were both shot while trying to arrest a man accused in a home invasion. Deputies were serving a warrant on Nicholas Tilley yesterday afternoon when Sheriff Andy Stokes says Tilley ran out of the house, got into a car, and drove away. Authorities say he had 2 hostages with him, including a child. The car was spotted at a mobile home on South Angel Road. That's about 6 miles north of Moxville. Deputies tried negotiating with Tilley. The 2 hostages were eventually released unharmed. Then 3 deputies, the sheriff, and a canine went inside of that mobile home, but the sheriff says Tilley started shooting through a wall. Deputy Chris Fleming was shot in the shoulder. His canine partner was also shot. Sheriff Andy Stokes says Fleming was conscious and responsive after being shot. The dog is in serious condition and may not survive. Neighbors who saw the entire thing happen say the situation escalated quickly.
I looked out the window, I noticed there was cop cars everywhere, like down the street, and I didn't know what was happening. Then all of a sudden I saw a few cops like come around the house, and they all had guns, and I knew something was serious then.
Tilley was arrested. No word this morning on what charges he is facing. New this morning, Virginia's Attorney General says the state's gay marriage ban is unconstitutional. A spokesperson for Mark Herring also said he will no longer defend the ban in federal lawsuits that challenge it. Instead, he will side with the people who are trying to have the ban struck down. A spokesperson says Herring made the decision after a lengthy legal review.
The Sochi Olympics begin in 14 days, and Olympic officials are trying to make sure that everybody follows the rules. And now they're turning to regulators in the U.S. Hallie Jackson is live in our Washington newsroom with more on that. Hallie?
Not just any regulators, Kim, gambling regulators. The International Olympic Committee is asking the Nevada Gaming Control Board for its help to make sure nobody cheats or fixes matches. Now, this board from Nevada already works with Major League Baseball and the NFL, but this is the first year it's teaming up with the Olympics. Why? Well, the regulators will monitor illegal and offshore sports books and look for things like unusual bets, weird or really high bets. The Olympic Committee says it does not expect any tricky business from athletes or coaches, but it still wants the precaution in place. The committee is also setting up a $10 million fund to guard against illegal betting. Just a couple of weeks away. For now, live in Washington, I'm Hallie Jackson, WXII 12 News.
All right, thank you, Hallie.
With terrorism threatening to overshadow the Winter Olympics in Sochi next month, President Obama is offering American security assistance. President Obama and Russian President Vladimir Putin talked on the phone this week about working together to secure the Sochi Winter Olympics. But the White House is playing down the terror threat that made the American offer necessary. So is Russia's top general, who's asking his Pentagon counterpart for help with sophisticated bomb detection equipment.
It certainly shows how seriously we're taking it. I think even more importantly, the fact that this is a possibility shows us how seriously the Russians are taking it.
Now, the same group claiming responsibility for a recent wave of Russian bombing says it will hit the Olympics. There are credible threats aimed at the Games, but a threatening message sent to the U.S. and several other Olympic teams has been declared a hoax. And the Sochi Olympics begin in 14 days. We're going to show the competition right here on WXII 12 throughout the Games. Then watch our Olympic Zone special every night during the Games, except on Sundays.
And let's head over to Austin in the Weather Center. Get a check on our forecast. Another very cold, very windy morning out there.
It is. That wind is really going to be increasing even more the way it is right now this morning. And again, I do this because that air mixing up is what's going to feel uncomfortable as you get out this morning and this afternoon. You notice Chicago, these are air temperatures 2 below zero there, 5 below in Des Moines, Iowa. So another core of sub-zero air coming into the lower 48 from Canada, all riding that jet stream, dipping well down to the south. And once again, folks, further emphasis why we look at that jet stream like we do, share it with you, let you see the way it's behaving. And yes, when that polar vortex, an extension of it comes down this far south, it's just simply driving the jet stream down south to our neck of the woods. We got 21 degrees showing up at the airport. Most areas are in the teens this morning, as you can see, and that includes Burlington, where we were yesterday, 17 in Asheboro, High Point, Lexington. You folks in Alamance County had a good time meeting and greeting some of y'all as you were trying to stay warm. And this morning, you'll have the same challenge, and even throughout the day today, even though our high temperature actually goes a couple of points higher than yesterday, with the wind, it's going to feel colder today than it did yesterday. We got a few scattered clouds out there mixing in this morning, but nothing precipitating from those clouds. All these blue colors you see on the map here, these are for wind chill advisories, and they're extended into the mountains today as our fresh surge of cold air comes in. Notice how it lacks precipitation other than some light snow and flurries up towards West Virginia. So today, look for the wind machine to turn on as temperatures turn up just a tad. 33 your average high today, but with the wind chills, it's still going to feel like lower 20s and upper teens. Air temperatures tomorrow morning down to 9. That will be bone stinging.
And we are continuing to keep a close eye on this breaking news out of downtown Winston-Salem, where firefighters are still putting out hot spots at the old RJR building that caught on fire this morning. This is a live look at the scene.
Plus, how a family is getting in the Olympic spirit right in their backyard.
I'm Brian Slocum, live in Winston-Salem on the scene where a massive fire burned on a catwalk connecting 2 old RJR buildings, one currently under renovation, the other one connecting to a Wake Forest biotech place at 500 East 5th Street during the overnight hours. 18 trucks responded. Now they're just putting out hot spots at this point. Fire is still under investigation, but fortunately no injuries were reported. Reporting live in Winston-Salem, I'm Brian Slocum, WXII 12 News.
Thanks a lot, Brian, for that update. Stay warm out there, folks. Just close proximity to this fire location at Smith Earls Airport. 23 degrees, a west-northwest wind at 3, and the humidity very dry at 44%. Upper teens, widespread and common across the area. A live look at Elon right now. Out on the quad, it is a cold one out there this morning. Still a little bit of snow left over in the quad there. And amazingly, beneath the quad, that's part of how they heat the campus there. So yeah, hopefully those heaters are working quite efficiently. And as we take a look at our graphics, that applies to you folks waking up this morning too, as you kind of go from being warm and snuggly to having to bundle up and get outdoors, whether you're running errands, getting the kids to school, or going to work yourself. It's cold in Ennis, if that applies to you. 14 in Hillsville and Jefferson, 13 in Boone. Right now we got 18 in North Wilkesboro and Mount Airy, 19s. We got those showing up in Elkin, Jonesville, as well as Yadkinville. There are some clouds coming in from the west, but notice really just scattered ones coming our way. Our big story is this reinforcing shot of the cold air. Some of it is below zero, and a piece of that below zero air actually invades our mountains for later tonight and tomorrow morning. We're not talking sub-zero temperatures for the triad, but we are talking about the chance by this time tomorrow to be approaching the upper single digits. And when you factor in the wind, once again, it's going to feel below zero this time tomorrow morning. Today, even with an air temperature near 33, it's going to feel like it's in the lower 20s and upper teens. And you can see tomorrow's frigid high only 27.
Well, all that's left of an iconic part of the Greenville, South Carolina is now rubble. Behind me is video from the implosion of a 14-story apartment complex that will eventually be rebuilt. But this week, first responders are using that rubble for a disaster training exercise. Mannequins were placed in the building before it was demolished, so firefighters are trying to rescue them. This is more dangerous than other training exercises because the debris can easily shift or fall.
We're hoping that the public can get a better understanding of what it takes to basically secure a scene such as this, to get inside and rescue victims. This is state of the art. This is state of the art. This is remarkable training that we're getting here today.
And that training will continue for a few more days. A biodiesel facility in northern Mississippi caught on fire yesterday, and it was so hot that firefighters could not even get close enough to the fire to fight it. The plant converts chicken fat to alternative fuel. A fuel tank exploded yesterday morning, which started that fire, and then there were 2 more blasts that were heard and felt miles away. Fire crews will let the fire burn itself out. No one was hurt, and there's no word on what started it.
A 5-year-old boy is now the new head of police in Casper, Wyoming. Dorian Layton had an inoperable brain tumor, so he decided to make a bucket list that includes goals like meeting the chief of police and riding in a police car. So when the police chief heard Dorian's wish, she had a better idea and held a press conference to swear in the new chief, along with his 9-year-old brother as captain.
A little overwhelming. I think I'm a little emotional today, but it's amazing. It's amazing how Chief Walsh and the whole department have made Dorian feel very welcome, and especially Dorian's older brother Julian. They've included him too, so that's really great too.
And it gets better. While meeting with detectives, Chief Dorian and Captain Julian learned of a criminal on the loose. So they had to arrest the bad guy who was breaking into cars behind City Hall. Then they had to take him to jail. So what's next for this young police chief? Well, he'll start taking ninja training classes, and he's going to learn how to play the guitar.
Oh, what a special day for him. Well, a family in Minnesota is getting into the Olympic spirit by building a homemade luge track. Eric Perkins and photojournalist Rob Collette show us the sights and sounds.
Very nice, very smooth. Tim and Lila Smith, we live in Crystal, and we've constructed an ice luge. I'm just teaching them to enjoy the outdoors. Our theme is the 2014 Winter Olympic Games in Russia, and our flag just came, and we just tacked it up.
Is it over before you know it? Have you ever crashed or wiped out? Should I be worried at all, or should I be scared?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. What did I get into?
Canoe paddle, that's your...
Oh, geez, my ears just popped. I'm so high. Like top of Matterhorn. Coming in hot. Oh! After 2 sorry runs, we're going big or we're going home. But maybe after this run, they'll change it from the bobsled to the perk sled. Whoa! Oh, gee! GoPro down. Sorry. Is that GoPro expensive?
He scored high this time. At least he didn't die.
We embrace the weather while we have it. Who's up next?
I don't think he's going to win any Olympic medals with that.
No.
A wedding surprise. We're going to tell you about the NASCAR driver who helped officiate at a couple's wedding.
Plus, a warning for women. Are Spanx killing us? We're going to tell you what doctors are saying.
Yes.
I know by the time you get home, you're like, oh. Yeah, I know how it is. Happy Thursday morning to you. I'm Buster Brown with your WXII traffic update. Traffic is beginning to pick up a little bit in Winston as we look at 52 and Akron. Also 40 and Freeman Mill and Greensboro starting to show a little activity there as well. Alamance County, we still have this closing that's just irritating people. This is Webb Avenue closed both directions from 9 till 4 p.m. And let's take a look at Davidson County. Have a little bit of slowing. Look at that mellow yellow there on Highway 8 and Highway 64 as well. And let's take a look at some of your local drive times as we go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
.625 this morning. You're looking high atop Talia Espresso, and we're serving up teens for you in North Wilkesboro. And those numbers, you can see them. 19 is your number in Elkin Jonesville, 18 in North Wilkesboro, 12 in Ennis. And with sunny to partly cloudy skies today, the wind starts to ramp up again. So highs approaching 32 in Wilkesboro, Yadkinville, Mount Airy, Somers community. But the wind chills are going to feel like upper teens and lower 20s. Layer up again this Thursday.
Well, a California couple won a free wedding in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and a NASCAR driver co-officiated the whole wedding. Bobby and Crystal DeZarvo won the social media contest. As part of the wedding surprise package, NASCAR driver Kyle Busch was the official at this wedding.
Now, he couldn't officially pronounce the couple married, but that didn't bother them.
Busch is from Las Vegas. He drives the number 18 car in the Sprint Cup Series.
They're married. That's all that matters, huh?
Yeah.
Well, coming up next at 6:30, we're continuing to follow breaking news out of downtown Winston-Salem, where there is a lot of damage at an old R.J. Reynolds site that caught on fire this morning. You're looking at video from this morning and also a live look at the building right now. We'll have the latest from the scene coming up. And breaking news right now at 6:30, where an old R.J. Reynolds building, factory number 64 in downtown Winston-Salem, caught on fire overnight. Flames were shooting through the roof and part of a catwalk collapsed. And this is a live look at the scene at this moment. Fire crews say the fire is under control, but they're still putting out hot spots at this time, and several roads are blocked because of that. So we'll run down the list for you in just a couple of minutes. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Van Scoy.
And I'm Nicole Duker. Good morning. We'll have a live report from the scene of that fire in just a moment. But first, let's get your forecast with Austin.
Yeah, very cold morning. You can imagine how difficult it's been for firefighters, but glad to hear that is under control now. More details coming up. You can see as we look at our graphics here, folks, cold stuff out here. This is a live look at Winston-Salem, and Brian had reported it earlier this morning about the smoke enveloping the entire downtown area and even adjacent Business 40. That has since cleared up, but we have partly cloudy skies out there. Notice our air temperature this morning, 23 is what we're showing at Smith Reynolds. West-northwest winds at 3, the pressure at 30.19 inches, and we have clear skies continuing. And notice as we look at these temperatures, 15 in Burlington, 21 in Greensboro, 17 in High Point and Asheboro. We have 18 showing up in Lexington, and as you go up the road in Mount Airy, it's cold there too, 18 degrees. And as we take a live look, you can see Main Street continues to be dry, and right now just a few scattered clouds. More sun in your forecast today, Surrey County and Wilkes County, so good news there, but you'll need to layer up because of the wind chills. And as we take a look at those now, you can see those wind chills, those feel-like temperatures in the mountains are below zero because the jet stream, it's bringing the goods again. And there's nothing good about it, but yes, it is serving up another round of reinforcing cold. It does have a little bit of moisture associated with it, and that may give you a few flurries. But cold sun today, the wind picking up. Today's high near 33, but the actual wind chills today are still going to make it feel like upper teens and lower 20s.
And the latest school closing and delays are on our website, WXII12.com. The info is also scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And just a reminder, today is a makeup day for Guilford County schools. It was supposed to be a teacher work day.
Breaking news now out of downtown Winston-Salem. Part of the old RJR building caught on fire overnight. They're still there putting out hot spots.
Yeah, this is Factory 64. Behind us is video showing you the fire. And if you were near downtown Winston-Salem overnight, you definitely could not miss the flames or the smoke. Brian Slocum is live on the scene with the latest. Brian?
Yeah, Kim and Nicole, at one point the smoke from the fire did actually affect the traffic on Highway 52, and you can see actually the smoke in the night sky from I-40 when I was coming in this morning. The fire is out. That is good news, and they've been dealing with hot spots since about 4:15. Let's show you what it looked like, though, a short time ago. The last few hours, it's believed that the fire began along or near a catwalk that separated two RJR buildings at 500 East 5th Street. The building that was currently under renovation behind me, as well as the building that houses the Wake Forest Biotech Place. The connecting catwalk between those eventually burned and collapsed during the night. 18 trucks responded to the scene, and the fire was raging for the better part of 2 to 3 hours before most of that fire was put out. Now, fortunately, no injuries were reported, but the extent of the damage and the cause of the fire are still yet unknown. Keep it here on WXII 12 News, and we'll have more information as well on WXII12.com. As as far as conditions here, obviously, as Austin mentioned, very, very cold here this morning. We heard over the scanners as the firefighters were battling the blaze that icing inside the building was becoming a bit problematic and how they fought the fire. I asked that question to Assistant Fire Chief Harry Brown a short time ago, and he said that it's not affecting the surrounding area and it was not a major problem in battling this blaze. So daylight is up here. In a short period of time, we'll have a better idea what kind of damage that the fire dealt these two buildings, but for now, things are quieting down here on the scene. Reporting live in Winston-Salem, I'm Brian Slocum, WXII 12 News.
All right, and let's go now to photojournalist William Bottomley, who is also at the scene. And tell us about road closures in the area, Willie.
Well, Nicole, those streets are 4th, 5th, Linden, Vine, and Maple Streets here in downtown Winston-Salem. That's between, of course, downtown and Highway 52. So if you're making your way to work this morning in this area and is centered around the Wake Forest Biotech Place, prepare for these road closures. Patterson Avenue is open, so you can get down Patterson to get to downtown. So be prepared for that for the next several hours while police and fire crews still remain on the scene. Of course, you're looking at this live picture. This is actually 5th Street here in Winston-Salem. That's the latest. I'm William Bottomley reporting. Kim, back to you.
All right, thank you very much. And joining us now on the phone is Winston-Salem Mayor Alan Joines, who is in Washington, D.C. right now. Mayor Joines, thank you for getting up early for us. We appreciate that. First question for you. Big development project planned at the site of this fire. Is the fire going to impact that project?
Generally, based on what I'm hearing this morning, the most of the damage was that catwalk, which was not really an integral part of the development. The development is made up of 5 different buildings. It's almost a little over $50 million project. So, preliminary, it doesn't look like it's going to have a major impact.
So, tell us a little bit more about the project planned for that site.
Well, it's being converted mostly into residential. There's 243 residential units that will be this project made into, plus about 10,000 square feet of retail. It's a really high-end project with a lot of amenities for the residents living there, an amenity building with workout rooms, ballroom, things of that nature. So a very important project to us. As a matter of fact, I had dinner last night with the developer of this project, and actually he's hopefully interested in doing some additional work in Winston-Salem. So we're glad, and I'm very thankful and congratulate our Winston Fire Department for their quick response and getting that fire under control as quickly as they did.
Have you talked to fire officials this morning, and if so, what have they told you?
I talked with the city manager this morning who had talked to the fire chief, and it's basically, as you reported, Kim, that it was this catwalk that goes across 5th Street. As a matter of fact, I walked through that about a week and a half ago to take a tour of that building, and it looked like it was primarily that structure and a little bit of the building on the far western side of the project. And they're actually going to start delivering units in April on the other side down near Linden and 4th Street. So hopefully this won't affect the schedule for that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor Alan Joines, live this morning in Chicago. Well, this is not the first fire at an RJR building in downtown Winston-Salem. We just went into our news archives to find this video from 1998. That's when factory number 256 was destroyed in a huge fire. That fire was happening at the same time as Hurricane Bonnie was hitting our coast. Needless to say, a very busy day at WXII 12. That was such a big fire. Certainly remember that day like it was yesterday.
I tell you what, we had been doing wall-to-wall coverage from Bonnie. We had pretty much half of our staff down at the coast doing live reports, and then of course we had done that for about a day and a half, and then as that storm was beginning to slowly pull away, this happened the next day. So we'll never forget, again, one of our reporters, there goes the roof when it collapsed. They're live on TV. So it does bring back some of those memories, but there is a fortunate part of the story. This is nowhere near that magnitude. So that's very much something to be thankful for. And thankful for a warm place too, because I hope those firefighters find one soon. It's been a cold morning out there for sure. As we take a look in Greensboro, it's cold for you, it's cold for Burlington, it's cold for Asheboro, Mount Airy, Wilkesboro. I can't find anybody where it's not cold. In fact, it's cold in Florida. This cold air really gripping the entire southeast. And as we take a look at those numbers, you can see we've got 15 in Burlington, 17 in Asheboro and High Point, 21 in Greensboro, 23 in Winston-Salem. We've got 20 in Lexington. Not much wind for now, but enjoy that while you have it, because the wind is coming back today, folks, and that's what's going to be painful to us. We've got 17 showing up in Mount Airy. These are air temperatures. It's 12 in Ennis. There are a couple of single digits showing up in some of those mountain valleys, but reporting locations, as you can see on the map, I know a lot of you folks that have reporting locations, you're in those mountain valleys, so you have some single digits I'm sure you're reporting, and weather watchers will chime in as the morning goes on and let us know some further evidence of that. But reporting stations, as you can see, low to mid-teens. We're below zero when it comes to the wind's impact on the temperature and the way it feels on your body. And once again, it's that wind hitting your body that shows how quick the heat from the inside of your body can escape, and that's why the feels like temperatures are really more important than even the actual air temperatures. There's some scattered clouds showing up, but they're not thick enough to produce any moisture, in this case any snow. So yeah, we'll have the sun filtering through those clouds, and as we go through our day today, as this cold air mass and gets closer, we'll have those winds increasing. So today's air temperature gets up to 33, but the wind chills are still going to feel like lower 20s and upper teens, so you need to layer up still even this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, we actually fall down with wind, the chance to get down to 9 in the morning, and then daytime highs of near 27 as we go through tomorrow.
Sinus pressure relief. How many of you wish they had some of that? The procedure doctors are doing in their office, it is permanent fix for 95% of people.
Plus the product that a lot of women have in their wardrobe that's literally damaging their organs.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian Slocum, live in Winston-Salem on the scene of a fire that burned late in the night into the early morning hours that affected 2 buildings along a catwalk. The fire began shortly after 1:30 this morning on a catwalk that divided an old RJR building and the building that now houses the Wake Forest Biotech place. 18 trucks responded, including 3 ladder trucks, to the scene. The fire was extinguished in just under 3 hours, and fortunately no injuries were reported, and the investigation to that cause of that fire is still underway. The fire burned at 500 East 5th Street, and some of the surrounding streets remain closed, including portions of 4th, 5th, Linden, and Maple Streets in downtown Winston-Salem. In Winston-Salem, I'm Brian Slocum, WXII 12 News.
Thanks a lot, Brian, for those updates there, folks. Good news that it is contained. We'll continue to keep you up to date in the next few minutes. We got some clouds coming up from the southwest, not thick enough to produce any snow, even though they do a little bit look like snow clouds here, folks. It doesn't look like there's enough moisture in the air to support that. I guess that's a good thing. We don't need travel headaches this morning, even if you're a snow lover that would like to see some of the white stuff. 17 in Mount Airy right now, 12 in Ennis. We have some areas even in the upper teens, and bitter cold this morning. Breezes make us bitterly cold this afternoon. Today's high near 32 in Mount Airy and Wilkesboro. Wind chills making it feel like upper teens, lower 20s.
Cars have a lot of features like seat belts and airbags to protect you if you're ever in an accident. But now some cars have features to help you avoid an accident altogether. Cars have things like cameras that can help you see in areas you probably couldn't see before, like directly behind the bumper. There's also an advanced lighting system that turns the headlights in the direction that you're turning, and a system that warns you if you drift out of your lane. Another feature senses what's in front of you, and if you get too close, the car takes over the brakes for you. Here's a look at how it works.
Want me to brake? Don't brake, you'll hear a warning.
Yikes! Whoa!
And the vehicle brakes for you.
Wow. I mean, there we are, stopped. We didn't hit a thing.
Exactly.
The Insurance Institute says you can pay $1,000 to $3,000 for some of those options.
Well, there is a procedure to relieve constant sinus pressure that can now be done in the doctor's office instead of the hospital. It's called balloon sinuplasty. After numbing the sinus area, a doctor inserts a small balloon into each sinus cavity, inflates it, and then takes it back out.
You're not removing tissue, you're moving tissue over permanently with the balloon. So you're dilating those sinus openings to let them flow properly.
For 95% of patients, it's a permanent fix to their allergy problems. That procedure only takes about 10 minutes, and patients can return to work the next day.
So ladies, we know it takes a lot of effort sometimes to look good.
Yes, and a lot of us wear Spanx, you know, shapewear that holds in your fat, smooths things out. But doctors say, I guess it's killing us. It's not very good for us.
We laugh as we say this, like as if we're going to stop wearing them. It's horrible.
They say it squeezes our organs. Yeah, well, it's squeezing things in.
It's squeezing, that's for sure. Doctors are saying it compresses your stomach, intestines, and colon. It can worsen acid reflux and heartburn. Another symptom of shapewear is shallow breathing. They're saying shapewear. They're pointing out Spanx, so we should say.
They're commonly called Spanx.
They are. I think. So when you inhale, they're saying shapewear restricts the movement of your diaphragm and your abdomen, and the problems don't stop there. It increases pressure on your abdomen, which can cause problems with your bowels. It can also develop tingling, numbness, pain in your legs because shapewear decreases your circulation. Still not convinced that you shouldn't wear them all the time? Shapewear traps moisture under it that leads to infections. The list goes on. Experts say you can still wear them, but make sure it's the right size and don't wear it that often. Here's the trick. You buy it like 2 sizes bigger, and so it's not so tight, but it still works. Yeah. Don't feel bad about it either.
Yeah. I'm not going to stop wearing it.
Isn't that horrible?
I need it. Yeah, no, I know.
You know,
Austin, you've worn man Spanx before.
Spanx. We did that story a while back.
Yeah, I did that for the story. I didn't like it because my organs were so uncomfortable. So, I had to resist that. Although, I probably should try some more. We got to find that happy medium there where your organs aren't getting stressed. We got 15 showing up in Burlington, 17 this morning in High Point and Asheboro. Okay, calm down, AC. Quit laughing at yourself. We got 21 in Greensboro, 20 in Lexington, 23 in Winston-Salem. Okay, let's take a live look now, if we can, at Moxville. Beautiful sunrise here this morning. I really love these landscapes here. It looks like a painting, and we got a couple of scattered clouds that are mixing in with this. And yes, with that sun coming up on the horizon, we'll have the same thing in our forecast today, these partly cloudy skies. Now, as we talk about the wind today, I don't want to sleep on the fact that we've got more of that coming in, because even though we're kind of celebrating the fact that we ease above freezing for a high temperature today, it's not like we'll be able to enjoy it, because the wind chills are going to make it feel much colder even through this afternoon. Notice Orlando, Florida at 37, sub-freezing temperatures sneaking into the northern part of the Sunshine State. Some of the orange crop there having to be treated there and protected. 25 in Montgomery, Alabama in the ATL, and we got sub-zero temperatures up towards Chicago. That's part of that reinforcing shot of cold air that's coming in. Right now, the wind chills, the feel-like temperatures, they're not that bad, but 12 is bad enough, but it's not that bad compared to the way it's going to be this time tomorrow morning. In the mountains, it does feel like it's 6, where you have some breeze already building there up in the high country. Notice our feels-like temperature this morning. It eases up with the air temperature, but notice in the mountains, it goes down. In the mountains, it's going to feel like it's in the single digits, even though you make it up to about 20 for a high. In the Piedmont, it's going to feel no better than about 22 to 24, even though our high temperature gets up to about 33. And even notice this evening, as you tune into Laney between 5 and 6, wind chills starting to go down to lower teens, and even overnight tonight falling into the single digits by 8:30. If you're going to venture out, maybe see your kid play a ball game or two, pick them up from practice, you'll need to bundle up. Look at the mountain wind chills tonight, 13 below 0. And yes, our wind chills by tomorrow morning, they also fall below 0 tomorrow morning. And look at our air temperature tomorrow when we wake up, down to a bone-stinging 9, and daytime high with sunshine only 27. It looks like it's going to be Sunday before we have the chance to get above 40 degrees to come out of the freezer.
Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on WXII 12. We're back in just a moment with your morning headlines.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian Slocum, live in Winston-Salem. We are on scene of a fire that burned at one of the old RJR buildings, a catwalk separating 2 buildings, in fact, at 500 East 5th Street downtown. At one point, 18 separate trucks were working on this fire that began just after 1:30 this morning. It took almost 3 hours for firefighters to get control of the fire and extinguish it. We still have firefighters on scene behind me working on hot spots, and occasionally you see a flashlight beam. They're currently still investigating that fire as well. No injuries reported. Both buildings were vacant at the time, but this building was slated to be part of a $5 building, $52 million renovation project for retail space as well as residential space for downtown. It appears that the fire's damage will not affect that project after all. Several streets remain closed downtown. 4th Street between Patterson and Maple, 5th Street between Patterson and Linden Street between 4th and 7th Street. I'm Brian Slocum reporting downtown.
This morning, a Davie County deputy and his canine partner are both recovering after they were shot while trying to make an arrest of a man accused in a home invasion. Deputies were serving a warrant on Nicholas Tilley yesterday afternoon when Sheriff Andy Stokes says Tilley ran out of the house, got into a car, and drove off. Authorities say he had 2 hostages with him, including a child. That car was spotted at a mobile home on South Angel Road, about 6 miles north of Moxville. Deputies tried negotiating with Tilley. The 2 hostages were eventually released unharmed, and then the 3 deputies, the sheriff and a canine, went inside the mobile home, but the sheriff says Tilley started shooting. Deputy Chris Fleming was shot in the shoulder. His canine partner was also shot. Sheriff Stokes says Fleming was conscious and responsive after being shot. The dog is in serious condition and may not survive. Tilley was arrested. There's no word on what charges he's facing.
We've got more cold coming. Afternoon, folks, but a nice start visually here. This is our look atop High Point in the Regional Health Center there. Good looking sunrise, scattered clouds. Our temperatures, not so good looking. You can see they're in the teens, low 20s in Greensboro, but 15 to 17 High Point in Burlington. Today's high actually sneaks above freezing after 3 o'clock, but with the wind picking up out of the northwest 10 to 15 miles an hour, it's still going to feel like upper teens and lower 20s. So kids, bundle up, layer up. Adults, you do the same thing, even if you're working outside. Tomorrow morning, bus to be 9. That's going to hurt.
All right, we have a serious accident at work, and this is in Oak Ridge, 68 northbound at Alcorn Street near Leaborn. It's involving a truck and 2 cars, and injuries are involved in this accident. We'll keep you updated. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at WXII.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Stay with us, everybody. Go to WXII12.com throughout the day for the latest on that fire in downtown Winston-Salem. Today's show's next. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.